it's Ryanoxx, and in this video I want to show you my Magicka Dragonknight PvP build for the Summerset patch. This is a burst build, so don't expect too much defense. But yeah, I called it the Combustion build just because you literally combust the enemy, and it has to do with the rework of the passive. Now, let's jump right into the stats. We have 40k mag, 25k health and 15k stam, 2k spell damage, and both this will go up to 3.5k, 42% crit, 2k crit resistance, and 1500 magical recovery, which seems quite low, but you have many sources where you get your regen from. Then 64 points in the Magicka. I'm using the boon the Adronac, and I'm using dry food, spell power pots with detection, mobility pots if you want to kite, and essence of health, the normal tri potion if you're struggling with stam sustain. Then for the sets I'm using 2 Scoria, rear high proc 13k, and it also gives you health, which helps out because we're in light armor and we have not so much health, and our sets help with that. Then I'm running Sun, 3 pieces on the body, and a inferno stuff on the front, Nirnhound with the escapist poison. Then I'm running 5 spell weave on the back bar, 2 on the armor, 1 necklace, and the back bar restoration staff infused with the weapon damage enchantment. Then I'm running 2 willpower. Since all staves count as 2 pieces, you can use willpower here. That gives you quite a nice magic pool for Magicka Dragonknight Burst Build. I'm using 2 arcane on my jewelry and 1 triune. The new trade just helps to balance your stats. You can also run 1 triglyph here. It's literally no difference, so I'm using 2 magic regen and 1 spell damage. That way you get enough regen to sustain. And on my armor I'm using 1 heavy, 1 medium, and 5 light. The big pieces infused and the small pieces impenetrable, and everything is enchanted with Magicka. Then for the skills I'm using Amber's really strong dot, also heals you, so that way you can stay offensive and also get heals. Then I'm running Engulfing Flames. Affected enemies take 10% more damage from fire damage attacks, which helps you because everything is like fire damage. It also gives a little dot. Then Flame Lash, so spammable, 10k tool unbuffed. And if you proc Power Lash, you also get nice healing, which helps you to stay offensive and have defense as well. Then we are running Flames of Oblivion. Quite nice for burst, 7k tool, unbuffed of course. And it hits the nearest enemy every 5 seconds. And it lasts for 15 seconds. It also gives you your major prophecy, so you can get your crit up. That way we can run detection pots. Then I'm running Elemental Drain. The reason why we run a flame staff is first the passive Elemental Force increase the chance to apply burning by 100%, which is nice because the Combustion passive was reworked. It gives you 500 Magicka every 5 seconds if you apply burning, and since we are running a destruction staff, we have a increased chance to apply burning. You also get the ancient knowledge, which increases your single target damage done by 8% if you have a destruction staff ability slotted, and we have elemental drain, so that happens. And from Spellweave you also can proc burning. If you read the tool, when you deal damage with a flame damage ability, you have 15% chance to apply the burning status effect to the enemy and increase your spell damage by 500. Now, if you apply burning, also nice because of combustion, it deals 50% more damage, the burning status effect, and it gives you 500 Magicka, which helps you sustain. Now, Elemental Drain is really nice because first off, it's free. It reduces the spell resistance of your enemy, which increases your damage. Together with the light armor passive, we have 10k penetration from this. And it also applies Magicka Steel, minor Magicka Steel to the enemy. So if you apply this one, and then you apply Embers, then you get 300 Magicka every 1 second. That's really nice. Increasing your regen helps you sustain a lot. That way we can sustain the slow Magicka regen. Then we have Ferocious Leap as ultimate. Really strong ultimate, has good burst, 20 meters range. It has quite cheap cost, and it gives you a damage shield. So everything you need. If you want to go offensive, you still have some defense in it, but it has really nice AoE burst. And if you have engulfing applied and then leap, it's even increased by 10%. Now on my back bar, I'm running Harness Magicka, giving you a 7k shield, not too strong, but it's nice, you need it for defense, and it helps you with your sustain again. Then I'm running Volatile Armor, increasing your resistance buffs, and you get a AoE dot, 10k for 10 seconds, and while active, the armor returns 1400 magic damage to any enemy that uses a direct damage attack against you, which is really nice because if you're going in defense, or if you have it up, you can always damage the enemy while he is damaging you. For example, if there's a Soak, he uses many direct damage attacks, and he attacks you while your volatile armor is up. His shield will get damage. It also gets damaged by your dots, and then if his shield drops, you can burst him down pretty quick with Leap and Power Lashes. Then Stone Giant, a little different. Others would run Fossilize, or the most players would run Fossilize. I like Stone Giant better right now, because the range of Shattering Rocks or Fossilize is only 8 meters. Well, it can work if you're playing a Sword and Board DK. But with the Burst Build, there are often players that get dots on them, and they start to run because they are pressured too much, and then the Fossilize range is just not enough. 8 meters is too low. If it would be like 12 meters or 15 meters, it would be fine. But 8 is just too bad. This one, Stone Giant, has a 41 meters range, which is really nice. And it also deals really good damage. 5k magic damage, and if you stun the enemy successfully, then it deals even more, 100% more basically. That's 10k damage on the 2. And you also gain minor resolve and minor ward, which helps your resistances. The nice thing is, if there's for example a Soak, he dropped his shields, you damaged him, and he's at like 20%. Then he starts streaking away, and you can do anything if you have Shattering Rock slotted. But with Stone Giant, you can still stun him and run after him. Or maybe he even dies from the dots, who knows. There are often Soaks that don't shield. I often see that in Cyrodiil. They don't just keep their shield up. That way you can burst with Stone Giant. It has really good damage. If you look at the 2, it's like the same like your Flame Lash, just that it needs to stun for the damage, and it's really good range. You can use Shattering Rocks though, if you like it, but I feel like Stone Giant is much stronger right now for open mode. Remember, it can be dodged, so don't rely on it. Like, if you're going for burst, you want to have all your dots applied already, and then you want to use Stone Giant, and yeah, don't freak out if it doesn't hit, because that can happen. It also doesn't help you against blocking targets. If you're fighting against, well, if you duel a Magicka DK, a decent Magicka DK that is blocking a lot, like perma blocking, then use Shattering Rocks in this duel. But otherwise I like Stone Giant. In general, in duels you can use Shattering Rocks. Then Healing Ward, you need this just for defense. If you drop below 70% health, then use this one. And if it expires, it heals you for 125% of the shield's remaining strength, which is really nice because it gives you a huge heal and it also gives you a nice shield. Then Reflective Blade. The reason why I don't need a two-hander anymore, you can remove snares now with the Reflective Blade morph, and you can also reflect like the Assassin's Bow, Crystal Frags, and all the shit that deals very much damage, like for example snipes. They're very annoying and you can reflect them. The thing is, Reflective Blade doesn't have any immunity. So Reflective Blade removes snares, but it doesn't grant you immunity to snares. Keep that in your mind, because if you're using it, the stun, well, not the stun, the snare or root can be applied again. So most snares can be reflected though, because some snares come from light attacks because of the poison, like this one. I'm not sure if it can be applied though, but well, you can reflect, for example, the ice morph of this is very annoying. It snares you, well, it roots you, and you can reflect this. But I would like to see a 3-second immunity cooldown. Well, it should grant you immunity to snares for 3 seconds. It would make it even more viable in open world. Then for the ultimate, I'm using Light Champion. Very good for your defense. If you're outnumbered and you're pressured a lot, then you can use this ultimate. Or if they are fighting like a Pet Sulk, then you can use this ultimate to restructure the fight. It gives you healing. It gives you major protection, reducing your damage taken by 30%, and it increases your critical damage done by 15% for 5 seconds. If you use this ultimate, you can buff up, you can get all your skills up, like volatile armor, then you can use wings, then you get embers on your enemy engulfing, flames of oblivion, make sure that your elemental drain is up, then your ult is running out, then you go on your back bar, shield, stone giant, go in for the flame lash and kill. That's for the skills. For the race, I'm using High Elf. You can use Dark Elf as well. You can use Breton. I wouldn't recommend any other races. I prefer High Elf just because you get some regen, you get nice Magicka, and you also get the increased damage. Dark Elf has a little more damage, but it has less recovery, so your recovery will drop to 1.4k, which is fine. Well, it's not bad. Then your alchemy passive, make sure to get this one, otherwise your potion wouldn't last long enough, then you wouldn't have your major sorcery up all the time. All class passives, you want the destruction staff passives, you want the restoration staff passive, especially for destruction staff, get this one and this one. This is garbage, well, it's not garbage, but you don't want to execute with any destruction staff ability. Elemental Drain can't execute because it doesn't deal damage, but yeah, you want your class abilities, so don't use them. Restoration stuff or light armor, make sure to get these medium armor passives, these first 3 heavy armor passive. Don't go vamp on this build, it will be too squishy. Fighter's Guild, make sure to get this passive, it helps you with your ult gen. I don't run anything from Major Skill, nothing from Strategic Order. You can run the ultimate on the back bar with the minor protection, but yeah, I still prefer Light Champion. Then Undaunted Metal, really strong. This passives here, and of course your ratio passives. Then for the champion points, I wouldn't change anything here, to be honest with you. You can change them a little bit. I didn't do the math on it, like if every point is fitting perfectly, but I feel like these are the strongest that I could get, and I will I'll explain a little bit why. First off, 81 and Warlord, it seems overkill. It is overkill. You can put some points out of here and place them somewhere else, but I feel like putting them somewhere else isn't really beneficial. So I like to have just 24% in here, because you need to break free. You can't avoid it, so it's a really important point. 14 Sprinter, sometimes you sprint if you're kiting. 6 Bashing Focus to interrupt reses. 37 Arcanist, just to get a little more regen. 11 Tenacity, I'm not heavy attacking, but if I'm running low on resources and there's no other chance than heavy attacking, it's just nice to have 3% in here. 81 Tumbling, you need to dodge from time to time to avoid damage, so you need many points in here. And 20 Shadow Ward, because you have to block meteors. Don't block anything else than meteors or Dawnbreakers or other ults, because if you're blocking like from time to time, you will lose too much stam and you will run out. It's not a block build, so if you want a build that blocks, just go Sword and Board, heavy armor with like Desert Rose, Checker Breaker, and Bloodspawn. Bower. Then 37 Elfborn. I don't feel like I had 56 before in here, so I had 20% more crit damage. I feel like the 5% don't make that much of a difference if you put all the rest of the points into these both. That way you get more damage overall, because you're not always critting, and since we are running many dots, this just helps out more, and this helps your whip and your leap, so I feel like this is more beneficial. I tried it and I dealt more damage with this one, so it's down to preference, but I like to have more into those, to have more sustained pressure, since our pressure is really high overall, and our pressure is so high that we don't really need to burst, because our sustained pressure already deals so much damage that the enemy has issues to defend it. Then 64 in Elemental Expert, important point, important star here. Increases your flame damage and magic damage, very important, because it applies to your dots and your direct damage. 72 in Master at Arms for your leap and whip. Flames of Oblivion also scales with it, and as well Stone Giant. Then I'm using 2 in Shattering Blows. Don't put more into this. I just felt like it's more beneficial to have 2 in Shattering Blows than having 2 in Spell Erosion, because you're struggling more against shields than you're struggling against targets with the resistances, because you already have all the dots and you have 10k penetration already from your Elemental Drain and Light Armor. Then I have 75 points in the Thaumaturge. I've tried to run 81 in here to get the actual 24%, but I feel like it doesn't make sense to spend so many points in here. So you can take out 6 points here and put them in here. That way you get also increased dot damage, but you also increase your direct damage, which is more beneficial than just increasing the dot damage here. Still get 75 in here because you have many dots and you want to increase the damage of them, and you want to get the Exploited passive, which increases your damage done against off-balance enemy by 10%. That's a lot. And every time you use Stone Giant and go for the Power Lash, you get off balance and it deals more damage. These are not really important. Then 66 Iron Claw, 36 Resistant, 28 in Thick Skinned, 49 Hardy, 49 Elemental Defender. Only 13 in Bastion. We don't really want to rely too much on our shields, but you still want to increase your shield size a little bit. Then 9 then 9 points into Expert Defender. Light attacks got nerfed again. They got buffed, then they got nerfed, and I still feel like they do much damage, not as much as before, but they're still strong for weaving, so it's beneficial just to have some points into here, but don't dump like 30 whatever points in here, because it's just way too much of a waste. You still want points in here because they're more important than putting too many points in here. Don't get blinded by that. So that's the build, guys. Remember, very good burst, bad defense. If you play right and kite, you can survive though. Decent Magicka management, decent stat management, just play smart. And I might do a guide if you want it. Just show me a support, like, subscribe and share the video. But yeah, I might do a guide to how this should be played, because I see many DK struggling if they run without sword and board, and it's just about kiting. It's very different to play burst DK than any other class. With Nightblade you're very squishy with Stunblade, but you still can use Cloak and dodge a lot. With DK you can't do that, so you have to use line of sight, get your wings up, and just constantly move. Like get your stuff up, put the dots on, burst and all that shit. Can be explained like this, but I might do a guide. Not too long, but yeah, a short one. Yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, write them in the comments below. It might take some time to get this on the live server, so I can show you the build in real action and open world. I will upload some duels later. But yeah, like duels on the PTS, it's very laggy and they don't really show skill. Like it's, if you freeze, you lose. That's basically it. But yeah, that's it. Like, subscribe, share if you want to show me support. And that's it. Bye. See ya next video.